Most event organizers are leaving money on the table at their events, sometimes without even realizing it. If you are running events and you're relying on front end ticket sales as your only source of revenue for your events, there's another way. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can stack revenue so that you can make your events more profitable. Hello, my name is Tanya Lopez. I'm an event strategist and experience designer. I'm the former head of events for Mindvalley, where I scaled million-dollar events that many people call the best experience of my life. And today I bring these strategies to my audience and community so that you too can create world-class wow events that are highly profitable and that sell out with ease to your dream community. All right, let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to the Event Profit Challenge. I'm so excited you're here. And today is a big topic. So today is all about stacking revenue streams. So many event and retreat leaders are leaving big money on the table, big money and big impact, and they're not even realizing it. And this is because they are primarily relying on front-end ticket sales for their event revenue. And it's totally normal. This is where everybody starts. And I'm going to give you some tips in today's video on how you can multiply and diversify your event revenue streams so that your next event can be a lot more profitable. I'm also going to talk to one of the biggest mistakes that I see event and especially retreat leaders make, which is having dead end offers or dead end experiences that don't go anywhere. So I am going to break down exactly what that is and what to do instead. So by the end of this session, you will be able to have a few revenue streams to explore that you can add into your next event and make it more profitable. All right, so let's dive in. So the first thing that I want to introduce is what I already mentioned, that there are multiple ways, multiple revenue streams and opportunities for you to create revenue, profit, income from your events. So usually people are relying on one primary method, and that is ticket sales, right? You have 10 tickets, you have 1,000 tickets, and all of your revenue is coming from the tickets sold. This is the way that most everybody starts, and it's fine. And at some point you get to evolve this, you get to expand this, and you get to create more revenue streams for yourself. So this is really important because it creates it helps you stack revenue, and it also creates a little bit of stability where you're not only relying on one source of revenue, right? And so what I recommend when I work with my clients, I actually have a checklist of 15 different revenue streams that you can introduce and layer into your events. That's beyond the scope of this challenge, but I'm going to give you three to start with to get your wheels turning. And what I recommend, and I recommend this when applying most strategies, is choose one. Don't try to do all of them. Choose one, introduce one, see how that goes, master it, get it to a point where it converts really well, where you're happy with the additional revenue that it's making you, and then you could potentially introduce a second one. Okay, so the big idea here is that you want to have multiple revenue streams for your events. So as a few examples and to plant some seeds for you in terms of what's possible, I will give you three potential revenue streams that you can explore. And these are it really depends a lot on your event, your audience, your personality, your business model in terms of which one of these is going to be the best fit for you. So, just as with anything I teach, always try it on. Is this one a fit for me? Which one feels best? Which one aligns to me, the way I do business, my community, etc. So the first one is sponsorship. So sponsorship, people tend to think of sponsorship for like larger, big scale events, and that is true to a certain extent that usually sponsors want exposure. They want a lot of eyes. However, there is a way that you can also pitch sponsors and bring sponsors in where it's about quality, not quantity. If a brand, if a sponsor has an opportunity to go deep with the community and that's their ideal client, don't dismiss that that's not valuable for them, because it definitely could be. So when it comes to sponsorships, there's a few different options. There's paid sponsorships, and there's also in-kind sponsorships, meaning that they're not paying you, however, they're supplying something valuable to your audience. So for example, if you're running a wellness retreat, you could have a protein healthy shake or smoothie that is sponsoring it and creating protein smoothies at your event, for example. We actually had something like this when Dave Asprey spoke at A-Fest, and he supplied bulletproof coffee at our events. He didn't pay for it, but it was an in-kind sponsorship where they set up a booth and they were making bulletproof coffee for all of our attendees throughout the day. And that was a beautiful win-win for everybody. So those are two examples of sponsorship. And sponsorship can work really well when you have a very specific, highly niched and targeted audience at your event. So to give you an example, I have an amazing previous client who had a very niche audience. She had about a 300-person event. Her event would sell out in around 2 days. And it was for Latina women, Latina moms who were household decision makers. And brands would pay tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands, to have a presence at her event. And not only have a presence, like have a booth, but actually create an experience around their brand for audience. So again, now I'm speaking a little bit of a more high scale event, but I know that I have some people in my community that are dreaming of creating A-Fest larger scale communities. But again, this can work well with retreats, smaller events. You can also have venue sponsors, for example, where instead of you paying for the venue, you have someone that is happy to gift it for you. You can have alcohol sponsors if you don't serve alcohol at your events, because I know I have a lot of people focus on well-being events in my community. It could be an elixir bar of alcohol-free drinks, right? So here you can get really creative and explore, but sponsorship is one additional revenue stream that you can layer in. A second one is speaker affiliate sales. So this has to be done very carefully, but the idea behind this is that you invite a few incredible, really good speakers whose content is a fit for your audience, who would provide something really valuable, and who are allowed to sell. And when I say sell, it's important that this is done in a elegant manner, that it is a soft pitch. And if you get speakers who are really good at speaking and they are really good at sales and they have a high ticket offer, having a high ticket offer is critical, because if you allow someone to sell and they have, a product that's a few $100s, that's not really going to do much. But if you have somebody that has a $10,000 product or a $25,000 program or even more, and you're getting a 20% commission from that, you have a conversation with your affiliates and see what feels good, but 20% is kind of standard. We had speakers at our events where sometimes they would offer up to a 40% commission on high ticket programs, and that was a beautiful additional revenue stream for us. So this is another one that you can explore. And again, it has to be done with tact, with elegance, because the last thing you want to do is turn your event into a pitch fest where everyone is like hard selling your attendees. That's absolutely not what you want. When we would do this at our event, we would allow 1 or 2 people that were incredible speakers that would have really high value content for our audience and that would make a very soft pitch to our audience and actually they would host a session separately where they could talk to our community about enrolling in their program. So there's an art to this, and again, that's like beyond the scope of this challenge, but I'm planting seeds for something for you to consider. And if you want to dive deeper into these topics, then reach out to me for one of my strategy sessions. Okay, and the last thing I want to mention here, and this is pretty obvious, but I'll mention it anyway, is that obviously you want this person that would sell at your event to not be a competitor. You want them to be a complement to your business, to your programs and offers, but not a competitor. Okay, so number one was sponsorship, number two was affiliate sales, and the third one that I will introduce for today as part of this challenge, not the only other one because there's many more, but the one for today that I'll introduce is a VIP and upsell experience. So you're always going to have someone in your audience that wants that premium experience. They want VIP, they want the best, and they're happy to invest in that, right? They're the ones that will book a single room at a retreat. They are the ones that will buy that VIP ticket. And so look at your event and consider, where can I add in some upsells or some premium, layer in a more premium experience for people in my community that would want that, right? So a few examples, like at events that I have run, is that a VIP ticket could include a VIP dinner with some of the speakers of the event. If you are a coach or a healer, you could also include a one-to-one session with you, right? This depends on your retreat and how busy and packed it is. Although those sessions with you could also be included pre or post retreat. Luxury add-ons, right? Like that single room or an additional day that's a one-to-one deep dive, right? Again, get creative and see, but the idea is to add in a more premium experience at a higher price point for the people in your audience that want that premium experience and that want that exclusivity. All right, so that's the third one. And I said there were only three, but actually the fourth one deserves its whole, a category of its own. So, and now I'm moving into the third point. So the third point, and this goes back to what I said in the beginning of the video about very often people making this one mistake in their events or retreats. And I don't want you to make this one mistake. And this one mistake is that they create events, experiences, retreats that are a dead end. Meaning, you bring people together, you create an incredible event, an incredible experience, and then you say goodbye and that's it. End of story. There's nothing that happens after that. There's no next step. There's no invitation to continue the journey. There's no continuation or deepening of the experience that you've provided. And again, you're always going to have those people that want the deeper experience, right? Like an event or a retreat can only be so long. It can only be a few days or, maybe a week, maybe 10 days max, although that's pretty rare. And so this is something to me that feels quite important, because although events and retreats, they are a peak experience, right? It's like this thing, it's out of your everyday experience, and it's a peak experience. It's not something that happens all the time. And you want to provide that. You want to provide that peak experience. However, you don't want it to be just that. You don't want it to be just a blip in time where someone had the time of their life for 2 or 3 days or 1 week, and then they went back to reality and their life and who they were before that experience, right? You want to allow them to continue to be in that vibe and that energy in that experience. And so you always want to invite people to continue the journey with you, to go deeper, to take that next step. And it's your responsibility as the facilitator, as the guide, the host, the coach, the mentor, the space holder, to determine what is that best next step, right? And to offer that. Because if you're bringing people together and everyone is just having the time of, if you do a good job in your events, people are having the time of their life. They're feeling connected, expanded. They're seeing new possibilities. You've opened up something in them. And that is a perfect opportunity to be like, this isn't just about feeling expanded and connected and enjoy and possibility for a few days. This is about that being what continues in your life. This is about holding that frequency of possibility and actually integrating this into your life so that you see real changes and it doesn't end up just a peak experience, right? And so that is why crafting a perfect next step offer is something that I recommend to all of my clients. If you have people that are there and they've had an incredible time, they want more. And at your event, while they are in that vibe, in that energy, in that emotion, loving you, your work, your brand, what you've created, that is the ideal time to invite them to deepen the journey. So if you do not currently have that at your event, I cannot recommend strongly enough that you create it. If you are someone that is a coach or a healer or something like this, you might already have online offers that you can introduce, right? Maybe you're already doing that, or maybe you don't have that, but you can absolutely craft something. And for me, the key that this is online, because you want something that will sustain you in between live events, right? Like some people say, oh yeah, I'm selling at my event, I'm selling the next event. But that means you have to get off, you have to hustle, have to start all the logistics again, right? And you're still selling something that has extremely high costs for you, which is a live event and experience and travel and logistics and overhead costs and all of this, right? Whereas if you can craft something online, you get to continue that journey and your overhead costs are way lower and you get to expand your income, your impact, right? So I hope that's pretty clear of why it's so important to do this. And, you might be in a position where it's like, okay, I want that. I see the importance of that and I don't know how to do that. Well, I can help. But before I do that, actually, I want to share a story about an incredible client of mine, Mabel, who I had been working with a few months. And she had just run a retreat in Mallorca. It was sold out, and she was telling me, oh my gosh, the retreat was so amazing. It had just finished a few days prior. She said it was so amazing. The women were raving about it. Everyone was saying like how expanded they felt and how much they loved it and asking me when the next one was. And, she was really basking in that afterglow of this retreat and all the positive feedback that she got from her attendees. And I said, wow, that's amazing. And I was celebrating with her and I said, did you offer them something? Did you make them an offer to keep working together? And her face just kind of went like, oh no, no, I didn't. And I said, okay, well, it's not too late. Let's craft something. So we used that call to actually map out an offer that she could give to these retreat attendees. And so it wasn't too late. She went back. She actually reached out to each woman that attended her retreat personally to say, hey, I got so much feedback about what an incredible retreat and experience it was that I've decided to create an offer that will keep us all connected, that will keep everybody in the energy and the vibe of what you experienced at the retreat. I would love to have you there. Let me know if you'd like more information. I, coached her around how to best present this individually to each woman. This was after her retreat ended. A few days later, she messaged me. She said almost all of the women said yes. I believe it was like 8 out of 10 or 10 out of 12 women said yes. And she made another 10,000 euros after the event with this strategy. And also she was really excited to deliver this because she loved the women that were at the retreat. She wanted to stay in connection with them. So it was just a win-win all around because she gets to stay in that energy, to stay in her leadership, to continue the journey, to have bigger impact, to make way more money. I think she actually ended up making close to the same amount of money on the back end through this offer that I just shared as the front end with ticket sales, right? So you have the potential to double your revenue with this strategy that I just gave you. So you do not want to sleep on this. You absolutely want to have this. And Mabel's story, I think, is a beautiful example of the power of this. Okay, so back to what I was saying before. If you feel like, okay, I want this, I see the importance, but I'm not sure how to do this, I have the perfect thing for you. I'm hosting the Event Profit Maximizer. This is a class that is dedicated exclusively to exactly what I just shared, to knowing how to craft and sell the perfect back end next step offer at your next live retreat so that you could double your income and your impact. So I would love to have you there. If it sounds like a fit, I will drop the link below, and yeah, you will get the step by step on how you can create that offer for your community. Okay, so aside from that, I want to give you two action steps to help implement what I covered today. So the first one is based on what I shared today, or perhaps you know of a few other ways. What is an additional revenue stream that you can layer into your next event? And what are 3 moves that you can make to start to implement this? That's the first question. And the second one is start to map out and give some thought to what would be my perfect next step back-end offer. If I thought about the people that I have at my next retreat, what is something that I could offer them that would keep us connected after the event or retreat, that would keep us connected online, that would deepen the experience, that would get them better results, that would continue the transformation, that would allow us to go deeper into the energy or the teachings or the concepts that were shared at the retreat. All right, so those are your 2 action points so that you can apply what I shared today about stacking revenue so that your next event is more profitable. And again, if you want help on that part of creating that perfect back end offer, join me for the Event Profit Maximizer. I will drop the link below. If you're here watching, say hello, drop a comment, let me know what's landing for you. If you have questions, if there are any particular goals or challenges that you have in your event, let me know. I would love to hear. And that also helps me, know what content to create for you guys that would be most supportive for where you are in your events. All right, so I hope that you're enjoying this profit challenge. I am enjoying delivering it, and I will see you in the next video. By now, you can probably see that if you have been relying primarily on front-end ticket sales for your live events, you have an incredible opportunity in front of you to craft the perfect next step back-end offer to sell at your next live event. And if you would like help with that, if you would like help in crafting this offer and knowing how to pitch it naturally at your next event so that you can not only significantly improve your income and your profits, but also really deepen your impact because you're now able to serve your clients and community beyond the actual retreat, then reach out to me. I offer one-to-one strategy sessions where we can do just that, craft the perfect next step back-end offer to dramatically improve your profits while also delivering an absolutely incredible wow and world-class experience. Click the link below for more details and to book a session.